ATI is a very apt name. All Things India is what we've totally experienced here. It's been just fabulous. Spontaneous live theatre, I classify.
Well, I'd like to say that when we were coming, we were warned that India was going to be full of vile smells that are going to be overcoming, dead bodies in the streets, people defecating here and there. We haven't been to the slums because we chose not to, but we've seen none of that. Certainly there'd been poverty, but we haven't had a problem with any of that, and I am sure that we've seen a fair enough cross-section coming from Kerala to Madurai to Mumbai and then through Rajasthan to Delhi. So that's my impression. Also, I bought a SteriPen for sterilising the water. There's been plenty, as long as you get the water here and it's secure, there's no problem with the water whatsoever. Didn't really need to bring the SteriPen. So those are my impressions for a start.
That's good.
Well, I wasn't an enthusiastic enrollee in this project, but I have had the most wonderful time. Before I came, I was advised that the two things that would hit me as soon as I hit India were the filth and the poverty. And I have to say, the things which have hit me are the friendliness and the beauty. And whatever else is said about India, what wasn't said to me before I came is what a wealthy country India really is. And the wealth is its people, its agriculture, its culture, its clothing. It's just been a fantastic tour. And against the traditional advice, I've eaten salads. I haven't been reckless, but I've eaten salads and fresh fruit. We even had ice in our cocktails last night.
No, it's okay here.
Oh, it's okay here. Anyway, any problems health-wise that I've had cannot be attributed to India as such. And it's been wonderful. And Georgie has been unobtrusive, helpful and responsive at all times, and he's fitted in around what we wanted to do rather than this. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
I'd agree. I was the same with you, John. I was very hesitant initially and wasn't on my top of my tour list, but we've had a fantastic time. Everyone has smiled at us. If you smile at them, they smile at you, and that's all the people in the streets. They've been very welcoming. We've had a great time, and I'd love to come back. It's fantastic. Food is fantastic. Culture, everything. Really good. We've loved it, haven't we?
Yeah. The colour.
The colour.
We'll
Brilliant.
go home,
Absolutely.
Vibrancy.
we'll go home and remember the women's faces and the colour and cow pads.
Georgie has been very good. You've been, you just fit in so nicely. You're very good.
And I'd like to say that as far as we're concerned, we've been through India. The traffic appears chaotic but seems to work. There have been many cases where there have been a prospect for somebody for anger between Indians, and yet we've seen virtually nothing of it. They have, because there's such a large, diverse country with so many people, I can only assume that they've learned to get on together and that being angry does no good. There we are, we have a diversity of religions, I won't go into them all here, yet they all seem basically to get on. Sure, they have the occasional hiccup, but basically they seem to get on and tolerate each other. And as far as having Georgie along, to have somebody who can speak the language, who understands, has been here before, certainly smoothed the way for us. And if we'd come on our own, yeah, we would have done okay. But having somebody who understands Europeans, having lived 22 years in New Zealand, and also being born in Kerala and having brought up there, understands India, has made it so much easier for us. And it's been wonderful. Been a wonderful experience.
Georgie has added to the guides who had wanted to give us a lot of information that has probably gone over our heads, and you've
Interpreted.
interpreted it and made it much simpler. And some of us have absorbed all that knowledge. Some of us, it's. I mean, the guides are very keen to give you the
And
knowledge,
they've been
and
good.
that's what they have to do. But you've simplified it and made it really good.
More
Really
understanding.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been good. Really, really, really good.
I just like to disagree with you, John, if I may.
Oh, well, of course. I would have
Which rarely happens.
I actually don't think we could have done it on our own.
No, I don't think.
We would have cobbled together some stuff, but it's
Not the
the cement between the bricks, it's the glue and the
Fair
interstices
enough.
that actually holds it together, and the troubleshooting, and when things don't go quite right, and yeah, no, that's been huge value added
Well, we
I
would,
accept your
we
criticism.
would have had a
on this
driver,
occasion.
and we may have had a driver that was.
And had a guide we picked up.
Yes,
Yeah.
the driver we could have had may not have been anywhere near as easy to get on with as Joji.
Or as fluid.
Well,
Yeah.
we would not have got the same value out of
Oh,
it.
absolutely not.
That,
No,
I mean,
no.
totally having a group, a
And-
small group that all are similar, you know.
We gel.
And
Yeah,
and
on
and
the same page, has worked. I mean,
And-
having Joji along with us.
The
really
little
is-
discoveries that you made along the
Yeah.
route that you didn't know we were taking, sort
Yeah.
of thing, you found places that we could never have found.
that's
And also to have Joji, who loves food so much, is able to guide us as to cuisine, which was very nice.
And
Joji, who normally sampled almost every course when we were there, and that was wonderful.
Told us what to have and when not to eat meat and.
As Margie said.
as Maggie said, that's important.
Yeah.
And the other thing with those opportunistic little stops, which we won't stop, whoa, stop here. When we get off the bus, what are we doing here? And there'll be, I don't know, bats in a tree,
Or ladies
Yeah.
going up.
ladies get, yes, there'll be protection somewhere.
Or or the sesame seed, that was
Yes.
good find.
Yes, the sesame seed
Sesame
coffee.
seed.
We had, the one revolt we had proved to be really, really successful walking through the lanes yesterday.
Yeah.
And we
Ah.
were probably all tired.
Didn't want to go.
I-
And
It was.
But you didn't know what
No,
was
but-
coming.
I mean,
And the
it was
traffic is
just
so
fantastic.
chaotic.
The colour was just.
And the other thing about India is that you realise when you go to Mumbai and here in Delhi indeed, and look at the size and the structure of the buildings, and you realise that it is indeed an ancient civilization, and the marks are there from of the Indian, the Mughal, and the English.
And the Dutch,
And
and
the
the Portuguese,
And
and
the
the
Dutch,
Jews.
Portuguese, and the Jews, and not to leave out the Jews. So it has been, I mean, there are buildings that we can, living in New Zealand certainly, that we can't conceive.
I'd just like to comment on the food. The food's been amazing. We've all eaten just about everything. We've all been pretty good. And the range is fantastic. There's food for all sorts. I
And
mean,
we're
don't
not
put-
sick of curries yet.
No.
It's after 23 days of travelling.
No, they're all different, and we've all been eating all sorts of stuff,
Yeah,
haven't we? And it's been
yeah.
great.
We
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, and the type of accommodation, except for one where we were not happy with the whole.
Yeah, it's been very
There
good.
was super selection.
Expecting. I've just loved it.
One other thing I'd like to
After
say.
lottery, we'd be back to.
Oh, absolutely.
One other thing I'd like to say about India, you can't, I mean, if you go to Europe, and particularly to Catholic countries, you can be usurped by religious festivals that you don't know is happening. That can happen in India, and in Kerala particularly, there can be strikes, and nobody can cater for those, so you do have to be, you can't have a direct timeline. You can do your best, that's all.
Have to be flexible, which Josie
Go
was.
with the flow.
Yeah, and the transportation, we had varying transportation.
Yeah.
So
All the way.
so we had train,
We've covered all
also
Bus,
tuk-tuks,
tuk-tuk.
And then
ferries,
Train, bus,
Boat rides.
camel car.
and amazing at the end when we were coming from the safari park to Delhi, and we were going to have to take quite a few cases, and it was going to be very difficult. We voiced a bit of concern. Joji arranged for a bus to take the big cases, and that just was amazing. And just going the extra mile, I have to now agree with John in retrospect. We couldn't have done it without Joji. We wouldn't have wanted to anyway.
No, you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't be bothered.
No.
You wouldn't do half of what you'd done. You wouldn't have half as much fun.
No.
You spend your whole time hassling about details.
Oh, it'd
Whereas,
be a nightmare.
yes,
And-
Georgie just loves hassling about details.
And going to the village, and I know for all of you it's the first time in India, going to the village, what was your feeling? And that too uninvited, we never warned them we are coming. What was your first impression about the village? We went to the, just to remind you, one is that Blue Pottery Village.
Yeah.
They didn't know we were.
Oh, lovely.
That
They-
was such an experience.
Yeah, and the people waved and they were very friendly. They were very friendly.
And that second one we went to, we cold called them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just went in to have a look and they didn't speak a word of English. But everybody is so accommodating and welcoming and unfailingly hospitable, really.
Yeah.
And if they were poor or rich, you actually wouldn't know. Within the village, I mean, the house might be bigger or it might be smaller, but you actually, predominantly, everybody's beautifully dressed, courteous, pleasant, clean.
Yes.
We were welcomed everywhere.
Yes.
I've never
We
been
were
to a
welcomed
princess before.
You what?
Princess,
Never a princess in
Princess
Oh,
Highness.
Your Highness, I think I got Highness.
I was
I don't know whether you were born a
Maharaja,
princess
sir.
or just became one.
became one just once.
And Sandy, you're fine, the dong, that sort of women's self-help.
Little discoveries here and there were just
The-
by all of us, really. not
And what they are doing in the society, you thought was good?
Oh, well, if, we went through the game park and we didn't see a lot of tigers. Some were luckier. But if those women can prevent some poaching and the game park can improve, well, hey, how good is that for the next generation?
Yeah.
Clean up the plastic in India's,
Beautiful.
There was no rubbish in the park.
No.
So-
Spotless, totally spotless.
Mind you, it was the only place where we saw rubbish ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think going also with all things India, if I can say that, Joji, that we saw, we could go on other trips with other people and you would go to tourist attraction after tourist attraction. And whilst we did a bit of that, and particularly the essential stuff, we actually saw and felt we saw India.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
real
yeah, that's
India.
absolutely
Outside the
We
main
had
tourist.
a taste of India.
Yeah.
That's right.
And-
Those little villages driving
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
and things, and seeing how the real people live in the country.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Which is
It wasn't
what we were
India's
wanting.
greatest hits, it was Indian chamber music.
It was, and that's the way you want to see. You don't want to go and see. It wasn't superficial. That was the thing. We did, even though we were 2 days here, 2 days there. So there's a limit on what you can see. I felt, and I think everybody else felt, that we had a taste, a real taste of India.
Yeah.
And we had amazing going part after we'd been to the more civilised areas and going to the game park and having read Kipling and wanted to look out there and to see the game, and we saw mongoose and all sorts of deer and pigs and warthogs. And it was I think the time that I really first felt it was when we went to the fort and looked out on the hills there and suddenly thought, wow, that was a wow factor. A lot of people
It was.
said, wow. Pam wasn't the only one, but it had a wow factor, and that was amazing.
That was that juxtaposition, that summed it up, that juxtaposition of extreme luxury
Yeah.
and what was really, I believe, probably quite a poor village.
Yeah. It's done.
And we go from one to the other. We went for a walk in the dawn, in the cold dawn, and the buffalo coming out, and everybody saying hello to us and going off to the
And
fields
the
to
rugged
do
geography surrounding it.
And then-
And to see them playing cricket on the Brown, and David and Roger went and got involved in the game
I have a record of that. I came and took photograph of you guys.
And in the middle of that, there is a new Jain temple in white marble, which is
Pristine.
extraordinary, being built today like it could have been built
And
5,000-6,000 years ago, and we have no concept of tradesmen doing that magnificent inlay with lapis and agate and stunning work happening right there while we were there. That was, I can't imagine that being done today.
And what about the small thing we did shopping, which we have not done much, isn't it? We didn't do any shopping.
We didn't do the shopping this morning.
Sandy was our shopping lead. Sandy being our shopping leader, I think, is the spokesperson.
Please don't say that.
Sandy, perhaps you would like to add something about
she was a.
The shopping has been extraordinary, and I feel very envious that Sal got the most beautiful coat,
Oh,
but it suited her highness.
and Carolyn.
No, the shopping, I think the work, the craftsmanship in some of the things that are available is just extraordinary. It's beautiful.
And the colours rather than black or
Yeah,
grey,
yeah.
it's colour.
Grey is really
And
hard
they-
to get.
Yeah.
And you've taken us to the tourist shopping malls, and you've taken us to the craft places.
Yeah.
So we've seen everything from rock bottom to the top.
And it's still
yeah.
within our
It hasn't been that we've just done your taste.
Yeah.
No. And it took us a while, to understand that when the beggars came to you, or the sellers of trinkets, that you don't saying go away or no or chale jao, that doesn't actually work. The thing that works is totally not looking at them, ignoring them and walking on. If you say no, as we were warned by Joji, if you say no, that is an invitation to treat, and they will follow you.
They think it's yes.
But if you like the trinkets,
Yes.
they're exceptionally
Yeah.
inexpensive, and it's lovely to support the people.
Yeah, the
Having said
beads.
that, we bought their
And all
little
the whole
beads,
world made, aren't
we bought their puppets, we have bought stuff from the...
Yeah.
$2.
Yeah, that's true. Puppets. You.
We bought the puppet, or
$2
dolls.
for two beautiful puppets and 20 strands of
Oh,
fine
no.
beads. for
If one broke
$2.
straight blow, but that was okay.
Broken a thread, have you? Oh, okay. I haven't got mine out yet.
Have you in your work?
No, it's been exceptional, Joji,
Oh, yeah.
and I think all we could say is anybody else travelling with you, as long as they had a good group of good mates or people that like-minded people, I don't think you could have a problem, because even if we had felt we didn't know you guys well, I think there's been enough activity to make us feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bus drivers have been good, and if we'd been a couple that, on our own, I think we could have still fitted in really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably important for a group of 10, because
I think you could have fitted in too.
No, but I mean, there are some people. I mean, we had a contact we knew
Yeah.
of, but if you're a total stranger, if there was say 8 friends and a total stranger, I think Joji would make
Yeah, no, I
it
think
work.
Yeah,
So I don't think you
Usually what we have this icebreak sessions where evenings we sit together and discuss a common interesting fact, and then that way people all gel together, and then once they know each other, then it's easy.
Yeah, and I think
You've helped
you've made that
Yeah.
available for everybody.
Meld us all
else.
together
Yes.
too.
It doesn't have to be a group of 10
Close
people
friends.
who know each other. It
Well,
can be-
Usually we don't.
Yeah.
As
So
Josie's
I
pointed
think
out, he had
that's,
a bunch of a few Europeans and Maoris, and they
Yeah.
eventually, in a short time, gelled and had a very convivial time. And I have to say that our group was very convivial, and the only criticism I would say, from my point of view, is that I had to suffer quite a lot of personal abuse. Apart from that,
And it's
Exactly.
Was that from the other John?
I think it was from everybody. I won't single anyone out.
Coming back to the matter in hand, although we're all of a sort of socio-cultural and the same demographic, age group, whatever, our interests are actually quite varied. And some of us didn't like to do some of the things that the other people like to do. But it has been so varied that every day everybody has to come back with a good story about, even if there was a part of it that it was the 61st shop that they'd been into, or the 61st temple, or the first bus trip, whatever. That because it has been extraordinarily varied and very well put together. Very well put together.
All things India.
And I think getting out of the bus at Indigo Dining Place, you thought, good grief, what are we going to? There's nothing. And we walked through the first little door in, and you see this barren piece of land with the indigo
And the
fabric
pigs.
lying there, and pigs
Baking on the
and dogs
side.
and cows.
Cows.
And then you go in this tiny little door and see this smiley man
Working on.
Stamping. Stamping.
wood blocking the
Yeah.
fabric, and the joy on his face, that was just.
Oh, I just love
And even
it.
the boys who weren't interested in fabric, you couldn't
Oh,
not.
no.
But then you go out
What do
to
you
the
mean
fields
you're
and see these
fabric?
reams of fabric out there being with mud on them, being sun dried.
Mud is their
And then you go to the
process.
little houses because it's a cooperative, and you go to all these little. Somebody's doing this, somebody's doing that, somebody's doing the next thing, and the end result, there's a fella there trying to sell it at the best price he can, and you're trying to beat him.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
It's great. Thank you,
But
Joshi.
thank you. Thank you all for your time and trusting me and coming. Thank you.
No problem.
My pleasure.
Thank you.